This episode of Mystery Ranch International brought to you by Standing Firm, a book by Dan Quayle. Standing Firm, just like the starch in that sweater and the white rain and that feathered hairdo. Also brought to you by Illuminati.com.
Hi guys, looking for that special someone? Then check out Illuminati.com. We are a dating service dedicated to matching wealthy Luciferians with that special someone for sacrificing babies at a pagan harvest festival, a little ritualistic sex magic, or just a fun night out on the town. Then you need Illuminati.com. That's Illuminati.com. Can't wait to see you.
Michael.
What's up there, MJ2? What's going on, buddy?
How's things? Doing good over here. We, you caught us freedoming right now on a R&R, undisclosed location, of course. Part of the Southern Alliance compound. So we're just gonna do a little bit laid back one tonight.
Yeah, we like to talk a lot about technology and things, and we were just going to talk to you about what China's doing right now. Luckily, America is a much freer place, but this shows you what could come. You know, Democrats and socialists and commies get their way and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But just got a couple articles we were going to kind of look at from. This one's from Breitbart. I think the other one's from New York Post or Times or something. But
yeah,
the China monitors citizens with TVs, smartphones, artificial intelligence, and robot birds. Let's see here. China's Global Times was pleased to announce on Wednesday that cell phones and TV sets have become eyes and ears for the largest mass surveillance network in the world, monitoring citizens in even rural communities and feeding the results into artificially intelligent computer systems. The surveillance system is called Sharp Eyes. It's a pretty cool name. And
what are we gonna call that surveillance system?
Sharp Eyes. Sharp Eyes, definitely. And its ostensible purpose is to help villages fight crime with limited police manpower. Leaving aside the question of whether the immense security apparatus in China can fairly be described as understaffed, the system is described as chillingly effective. Of course, I guess when you got that many people like China does, it's hard to staff a police force for the state to really, Anyway.
Are they talking about the same China I see like on YouTube videos, villages? Like, there's some pretty primitive places going on over there.
Luckily, their government lets them live that way and has enough money to spy on them. But what was happening, a fight was brewing in the streets of the Zhangtai village, Shifang, southwest China, Sichuan province, the result of financial disputes between villagers. Just as a young man was about to pull a knife, the police promptly arrived, stopping what could have become a bloodbath. Of course, they obviously don't have guns, but you know, places that don't have guns have crazy people stab a lot of people. But he was even stopped before that. There was, of course, we talk about Tom Cruise movies. There was some kind of Tom Cruise movie where the police showed up before the crimes happened because
what was that?
It was some kind of weirdo.
And then you talk about that, and then they got a video out in Live Leak where a dude with a knife like stabbed 24 school children. So, I don't know, it's interesting.
hard to. I guess when
that
they
propaganda?
ban. I guess when they ban knives, they can you can get a sharp stick on that. Just has to do with that. People are running into people with cars. Evil's evil. We just shouldn't tolerate it. But this bloodbath that had gotten stopped, the suspects did not know that their street fight was being watched at home and on phones by their fellow villagers, whose television sets and mobiles were connected to surveillance cameras placed around the rural neighborhood through streaming boxes and apps. A villager who had witnessed the entire incident on his TV reported it to the police simply by pressing a button on his remote control. Danger. Yes. Wow.
Hard.
How can we make these rural people that work so hard all day a little more lazy? Yeah.
Push them in the cities.
This case, covered by Xinhua in late 2016, is an example of the capability of China's new mass surveillance network in rural areas, which could eventually turn every television set and mobile phone in the countryside into a security monitoring terminal.
Well, we already done that.
I mean, if we're hearing about it, I'm sure it's done. It's
Amazon.
done in the big cities. Obviously, this is maybe they're getting everything covered now. Zulang, or sharp eyes, as we talked about earlier, derived its name from the popular Chinese saying, "The masses have sharp eyes," which depicts the power of the people, headed by the Central Political and Legal Affairs Commission of the Communist Party of China, CPC. The project is an extension of China's Skynet surveillance network. Skynet, that's what they call it.
That's
Terminator.
Reagan's. That's
what they
Reagan's.
no, Star Wars is Reagan's. Skynet is what they call it in Terminator, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, I think you're right.
Skynet has become a way out.
Really
I don't know. Let's see. Skynet. Yeah. Every house.
That project?
You say Terminator.
Terminator.
We can't call it Terminator. Why don't we just call it Skynet?
What cool in Terminator?
Every household can become a monitor terminal, and every villager can be a monitor. This is in line with the CPC's Communist Party of China mass line tradition, mobilizing people's enthusiasm to boost rural security for the people. Wang Quang, a specialist in non-war military actions at the National Defense University of the People's Liberation Army, told the Global Times that every household can become a monitored terminal. A monitor.
I won't.
Oh yeah. Villagers can actually watch footage from dozens of security cameras on their home television sets and smartphones. The Sharp Eyes system now covers 14,087 different villages with 41,695 surveillance cameras and is intended to cover every foot of China by the time it is complete, according to the Global Times. The cost of the system is expected to reach over 100 billion yen, or a little north of 15 billion US dollars. Villagers can actually watch footage from dozens of security cameras on their home television sets and smartphones. Reality TV just got a whole nother level.
That doesn't matter to people.
The Sharp Eye, keep in mind, the Chinese government statistics are always dubious. Proponents of the Sharp Eye systems claim it has been a tremendous deterrent to crime, reducing the crime rate by up to 50% in some areas.
They missed a few on Live Leak.
Global Times, which of course is a Chinese newspaper, and folks understand in a communist country, the government owns the newspaper. So they tell you whatever they want. Global Times breezily dismisses privacy concerns by noting that all of the surveillance cameras are supposedly installed in public places, accompanied by obvious notices reminding people of entering surveillance areas. It also urges that the density of cameras to citizens is higher in countries like the United Kingdom and the United States. The not content with a network of stationary cameras in clearly marked public areas. The Chinese government is also spying on its citizens with robot birds. That's pretty cool. I mean, it ain't cool, but you know, I've seen stuff. We've got, you know, hummingbirds. I've seen drone hummingbirds. And
I killed one that
MIT created bees that are supposed to pollinate. I mean, little drones that are bee
I
sized.
killed one of them MIT CIA prototypes the other day.
Over 30 Chinese government agencies have deployed tiny drones that look just like birds in flight, at least from the average viewing distance, over trouble spots, including the restless Muslim. That's a shocker.
Is that a code name?
No, I guess it was. I was about to say the province. It's the
Restless Muslim province.
Uyghur province of Xinjiang, but it's a Muslim province. The drones fly by flapping their wings precisely as a real bird does, using biologically inspired engineering to evade human detection. A source inside China's Dove project told the South China Morning Post that the robots replicate about 90% of the movements of a real dove and make very little noise when they fly, making them so lifelike that the actual birds often fly alongside them. Their size and realistic motions also make them hard to spot with the radar. We got some birds over here. That was an article. I took that stuff from the guy, John Hayward. That's where I got most of that. And I think somebody was telling me, you know, of course, I think our country, China, is a communist country, so they, you know, if anybody's read about Snowden and seen all the stuff, the U.S. monitors us anyway. That's what some of Mr. Ranch is about.
Resist.
I had heard that Alexa, like if there was a domestic dispute, that Alexa would call the cops. I think we found a New York Post article, James, that New York Post article you had that we were going to look at about, I was mistaken thinking that Alexa automatically like heard violence or heard somebody getting beat up and called the police, but what they're saying is a different story.
Was I supposed to have that pulled up? I'll give y'all the skinny. This is, well, be mindful, this is a July 12th, 2017 New York Post. Amazon says Alexa can't, one second, can't call the cops.
We found something earlier that said you can't call 911 or something.
Yeah, if you Google it, that's what pops up.
Google tell you all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the algorithm's all messed up now. You know, the CIA's been in it and everything else. But, an Amazon Alexa device made headlines this week after it was reported that the device called 911 during a domestic dispute in New Mexico. But Amazon is disputing that claim. Alexa allegedly called emergency officials during a domestic dispute at a residence in Cajelas. During the dispute, Eduardo Balaos, who is accused of threatening to kill his girlfriend, asked, "Did you call the sheriffs? Did you call the sheriffs?" According to Fox 8 Cleveland. The complaint claimed that Amazon Alexa device overheard this remark, apparently called 911 all on its own. But Amazon said, that's not possible. Alexa calling and messaging does not support 911 calls. After allegedly getting an emergency call from the device, authorities contacted the victim's cell phone. Barrows saw the caller ID and immediately threw the victim to the floor. Barrows then kicked her while on the ground at least 10 times in the face and 10 times in the stomach, at least.
I mean, that's not funny.
What are you gonna do?
I mean,
It's kind of funny, but I mean, she's okay. Fox 8 said it's not clear how 911 operators knew to respond to the victim via her cell phone. This incident isn't the first time an Amazon Alexa has been involved with the law. I bet it hasn't. They said earlier that they didn't know that one anomaly, I guess, from most Alexa devices is that it was actually connected to a landline. So take that for what it is. But yeah, we were talking that this right here potentially took a victim out of a potentially deadly, harmful way as soon as she got kicked in the head 10 times and the stomach 10 times. Then she was taken out. So, yeah. That's it. That's it for me, bro.
Alright, broski.
I'm spent.
Pretty good. Alright, everybody, happy 4th of July. The video probably posted later, but thank you for watching so much. Please subscribe, rate it, comment, ask questions, put something on there you want to talk about. Thanks for watching.